Don't you just love the Midwest? It was like warm 2 weeks ago and now we've got snow. And it's like -20, I believe. Perks. I can actually make warm tea. Looks like we have water. Hold on.
Hi, I'm Powdered Scale. I'm writing a book. Would you like to join me on my journey?
That wasn't a question. I'm holding you hostage. 5,000 words, I'm gonna make you read it all. Not really. And actually, the 5,000s is just the outline. I'm actually kind of surprised it's like 5,000 words. It's like 32 chapters. It's a lot of chapters. I haven't even numbered all of them. That's sad. I even have story ideas already. Did you know that you can actually do this documentation tab on Google Docs? It's actually really cool. I can write down ideas for the books, and I even got the factions, and some monsters, and some lore, because why not? This is Genesis, a story that Powder Scale wrote. Oh wait, that's me. And I only have about 2 chapters done. Well, not even that. 1. But I'm about to get the second one done. And I have been having a lot of fun. This story is a very weird mix. It is a post-apocalyptic, sci-fi, mythology story. Camera, can you not focus on my hand? And yes, the entire story has ponies. Unicorns, Pegasus, earth ponies, anything you can think of. Mythical creatures, zebras, deers, bat ponies. It's literally a mythical land, so it has nothing to do with humans. Oh boy, time flies when you're having school and dinner and, life things. Let's get back to writing. As I said, Project Genesis is a very strange book. It is a mostly post-apocalyptic story, which is also fantasy, technically, because it has unicorns and magic and all that kind of shenanigans. But also it's sci-fi, mostly sci-fi, actually, considering it's got some very futuristic technology, including some of our own, which goes down because, nuclear bombs are not fun for cellular towers. But the main reason why I say, it's the focus is the sci-fi and the post-apocalyptic story is because it's a story that came about originally as a short story when I was playing Fallout 1. I had an idea for a story about, the bombs dropping, because you don't usually get to see that. Most post-apocalyptic or dystopian stories are usually post-apocalyptic stories, because they're usually after the actual apocalypse happens. This is directly after, so it's an actual post-apocalyptic story. But the weird thing about it is it was supposed to be humans with the helmet, which is I think it's called the Jaws of Life helmet, which is one of the first early helmets. It was shaped like a horse, and I'm like, I want to do that for a joke for the human, as a reference to I used to do fan fiction for My Little Pony and I don't anymore. But then I'm like, I know how to write mythology and fantasy. Why don't I just do that? So my everything just turned into horses, and it was so much fun designing everything, like the factions, the monsters, the armor, the weapons. It was so much fun. It was so friggin' cool. So we didn't get done with the chapter, but we got 780 words, which is nothing to scoff at, especially out of 9,000 words already in this book. Damn. For just 2 chapters. Though, to be perfectly fair, it's not just 2 chapters. There's a few other beginning boring stuff that happens. Not like a prologue, but I can't remember what it's called, but it's boring stuff. Anyways, I'm going to read some Ray Bradbury. Very good author. If you want to go check him out. And head to bed, and I'll see you in literally a second. Good afternoon, everybody. So normally I'm not one to buy Funko Pops, mostly because they look ugly in my opinion, but I couldn't help myself. This is Rouge. I love Rouge. Let's get her open. Okay, let's just push this out of the way. Just ignore that. That's all look. Let's see. Oh, hey, it's actually relatively easy to get out. I have I've legitimately never opened one of these before, because I'm not usually a pop. Are these Funko Pops? But come on, that's adorable. Get it right there. Usually, like, I don't like the big head, but somehow that works for Sonic characters. I did see, like, Sonic on there, and it's, like, cool. But this is Rouge. Rouge is so much better. I know where this is going. There we go. Perfect. As of right now, we've got one full chapter done, and that actually first chapter is the entirety of the short story, but rewritten for the book, so it's a lot slower paced at the beginning before the bomb drops, and then everything, like, takes off, and, like, cliffhangers on, oh no, is he gonna die, and stuff. But mostly it focuses on his internal struggles. Most of, like, the external struggles are pretty obvious when it comes to a post-apocalyptic story. It's going to be them trying to survive the aftermath of not really a lot of mutants, but most of these, like, crazy ponies that survived, like, barely, like, they had burnt to a crisp, has, like, no mental state, and all they can do is live, eat, and, I guess, sleep. A lot of the internal struggle is going to come from Strummer, who is our main character, and he is. I'm trying to think of stuff not to spoil, so that this stuff. Basically, what you need to know is Strummer. He's very self-destructive, but he cares about people around him. He's self-destructive in the sense that he thinks no one loves him, but he loves everyone, and so he tries to help everyone, and so he stretches himself too thin to the point where he breaks himself. And he's this weird mix of introvert extrovert, and it's crazy. Literally, the entirety of the Genesis project is him just going through this learning cycle of it's not your fault and to deal with the stuff that is happening right now. And not just like the physical, but like the emotional stuff. Because, like, in chapter 2, already we're seeing that one of his friends dies in it and he just doesn't care. I guess spoilers, but it happens like in the first part of the second chapter, so not really that bad, and they're not a main character. But, like, he just does not end up approaching that because emotionally he's not stable enough and he doesn't want to. He would rather drink himself out of misery, and that actually happens. Again, I guess spoilers, but that happens at the beginning of chapter 2, and it's very early on, and it's not like a major plot point, but he's slightly an alcoholic, so it's not fun. He has a lot of growth to do. The funny thing is, in my Project Genesis outline, I actually have like the dates, so I can say when it like how far back it happened. Because yeah, this is not all happening in like a year or anything. I think it happens in like 5 years, if I remember, 5 or 10 years. I can't remember what the last chapter ended up landing on. But yeah, it's gonna be a long book. It's like 32 chapters, so we got a long ways to go.
Alright, so we just got chapter 2 done with a total of 513 words added as of right now, which is amazing, with a total of 4,000 words. Wow, that's actually a lot, considering the first chapter was also 4,000 words. I am on a roll, man. So actually, this is great, because I actually still have like a little bit of time, because it's only, let's see, 8:40. So I have like 20 minutes of writing, so we're gonna do that. So we're gonna go into chapter 3, and I think I'll explain that in the time lapse.
Chapter 3 mostly came about because it was a what if. I was trying to fill out like the amount of chapters because I wanted a long book, so I needed a lot of chapters. I ended up with like 31 chapters, 32 if you count the epilogue, but chapter 3 ended up being a wait, this thing comes out of nowhere. I need to set it up beforehand, and it's primarily something that happens in chapter, I think, 5. Yeah. In chapter 5, there's a portal that they use to get out of the city because something's happening. I'll probably explain that when I get there. But I realized, wait, while I could have them just explain it in that chapter, like what it is, and then just move on, it would be more interesting if it was actually foreshadowed. It's like 2 chapters like back, but at least there's like a payoff to that. Like I promised this thing, and then it's used for when I explain it. So to get them to do it, the water pump is broken, which even at the start of the chapter, I literally have Strummer saying that it's literally just a luxury and they don't actually need it because he's trying to convince Big Heart not to go with him, but Heart just insists. And so the two go, and they get into trouble. This is like the first time I think Stromer almost dies, or will almost die. I haven't gotten to that point. I'm gonna do that just to show that the main character isn't invulnerable and that Hart was right.
I thought this was going to be a good day, but apparently not. So, I had gotten pottery done with, like, my family, and from, like, the front, they look good. We painted these. We had, like, 3 of them, and they all chipped, and mine was terribly chipped. And I feel so sad. Like, her entire head's definitely coming off soon. That's... Now I'm sad. Hopefully doing some writing will cheer me up.
But I think the biggest thing is just the portal being like foreshadowed. Tech built it to connect the big cities, and that's about it. They actually just used it to connect the big cities, and so it's used later in the chapter. It's just I thought it was a good idea to make a chapter that dedicates to finding this one thing on accident so that it could be used later. So it's not just like thrown in there. So it's like, oh, this feels like plot convenience. This in this case, it's like, oh, we already built up. They have this kind of technology. Basically, it's actually just using magic on a big scale, which is funny. Do you consider that sci-fi or mythology, or both? Sci-mology.
Hey, at least they look adorable. I mean, most of the damage is on the back, so you can't see it. Got a couple cuties. I mean, in general, my desk is a mess. I even got a little library collection. Actually got a library book, too. Wonder if you can notice which one it is.
We got a comic book tonight. Woo! I got it for free when I got the vinyl. I should have mentioned that earlier. I went for the free comics and not the vinyl, but I got the vinyl anyways.
And nothing much happened the rest of that night. That is a Something Wicked This Way Comes reference. But it's true, I changed the name of Genesis because I realized that it's the Bible, and most people are going to think of the Bible, and so I changed it to Staria. And so the Amidst the Ashes, oh, that's just Amidst the Ash. Whatever. Amidst the Ash is the actual title, or working title at least. It's better than Genesis, so I don't think of the Bible. Also, I worked on that boring part called the intro. This part. Just, thoughts on the book. I don't care to be remembered. It's very true. I've been Powdered Scale, and I hope you would join me for this journey, because we're only 2 chapters in, and I have like 2 other books I want to write about this, maybe 3 coming up. But yeah, there's just this one so far, and I hope you like the idea. I hope you subscribe and join me on this journey. I'll see you next time.